Most people believe earning more money automatically improves their financial position. You assume a higher salary naturally creates long-term security and freedom. Yet many high earners remain financially fragile despite impressive incomes. The reason is not insufficient effort or intelligence. The reason is a quiet pattern called lifestyle inflation. Lifestyle inflation expands your expenses at the same speed as your income. When this pattern goes unnoticed, your financial progress stalls permanently. You work harder, earn more, and still remain average. You may think upgrading your lifestyle is a logical reward for progress. You tell yourself that higher income justifies higher spending. You assume comfort improvements represent growth rather than risk. Yet each upgrade permanently increases your monthly financial baseline. A higher baseline reduces flexibility during economic uncertainty. You rarely calculate how fixed costs reshape your long-term options. Instead, you evaluate purchases based on present affordability alone. Affordability does not equal sustainability over decades. You may focus on social comparison when deciding lifestyle changes. Seeing peers upgrade homes or vehicles creates subtle pressure. This pressure reframes luxury as necessity in your mind. You gradually redefine what normal living means. Your expenses adjust upward without deliberate strategic planning. Small, recurring upgrades accumulate into structural obligations. Subscriptions, leases, and financing quietly lock in commitments. Each commitment reduces your future investing capacity. You rarely notice opportunity cost because it feels invisible. Opportunity cost represents the investments you never made. Those missed investments compound silently over years. Meanwhile, your visible lifestyle appears successful from the outside. Externally, you look upgraded. Internally, your financial resilience remains unchanged. Money does not measure status, it measures control over future choices. When your income rises, you face a structural decision point. You can expand consumption or expand asset ownership. Consumption provides immediate satisfaction, but no future income. Asset ownership provides delayed satisfaction, but growing financial leverage. Lifestyle inflation automatically favors consumption over ownership. Your brain rewards visible upgrades more than invisible investments. This psychological bias influences spending decisions unconsciously. Higher rent increases recurring monthly obligations immediately. Larger homes require higher maintenance, utilities, and insurance. Newer vehicles bring financing costs and depreciation exposure. Premium experiences often convert into recurring habits. Habits transform into expected standards over time. Expected standards become emotional requirements rather than optional luxuries. Once emotional attachment forms, reducing expenses feels like loss. Loss aversion makes downgrading psychologically painful. As your baseline rises, financial pressure rises proportionally. You require continuous income growth just to maintain stability. This creates dependence on job security and external markets. Dependence limits your willingness to take strategic risks. You hesitate to change careers or pursue business opportunities. Your financial structure becomes rigid instead of flexible. Flexibility is the foundation of wealth building. Wealth grows when fixed obligations remain controlled. If obligations expand too quickly, surplus capital disappears. Surplus capital is the fuel for investment compounding. Without surplus, compounding cannot accelerate meaningfully. You remain busy generating income instead of building systems. Systems generate income without constant personal effort. Lifestyle inflation delays the transition from worker to owner. You prevent lifestyle inflation by separating income growth from lifestyle decisions intentionally. When your income increases, you pause before upgrading any recurring expense. You calculate the long-term cost of each proposed upgrade carefully. You project how that upgrade affects your monthly savings rate. Your savings rate determines how quickly you build financial independence. You prioritize increasing your savings percentage before increasing consumption. If income rises by 10%, you invest most of that increase. You allow only a small portion to enhance quality of life. This creates visible progress without structural vulnerability. You automate transfers into investment accounts immediately after income deposits. Automation prevents emotional spending from capturing surplus funds. You maintain fixed costs below a sustainable percentage of earnings. Lower fixed costs create breathing room during economic disruptions. You evaluate purchases based on long-term optionality, not immediate comfort. Optionality means preserving the ability to choose differently later. You treat recurring expenses as strategic commitments, not casual decisions. You avoid financing lifestyle upgrades through long-term debt. Debt amplifies lifestyle inflation by extending consumption into the future. You define personal success through net worth growth, not visible upgrades. Net worth reflects ownership strength rather than consumption patterns. You measure progress quarterly to maintain awareness of structural change. You regularly compare expense growth to investment growth. If expenses grow faster, you correct the imbalance immediately. You build assets before increasing housing or transportation standards significantly. You allow investments to fund lifestyle upgrades, not salary increases alone. You might justify upgrades as necessary rewards for hard work. Rewarding yourself repeatedly can normalize financial complacency. You might assume future raises will offset current spending increases. Future income is uncertain and should not justify permanent commitments. You might believe small upgrades are harmless individually. Small recurring upgrades combine into significant financial drag. You might upgrade social circles that normalize higher spending habits. Social normalization can distort your perception of financial discipline. You might treat bonuses as lifestyle expansion triggers. Bonuses should primarily accelerate asset accumulation. You might underestimate how quickly fixed costs compound. Compounded fixed costs restrict mobility and decision-making power. You might delay investing while perfecting lifestyle standards. Delaying investing sacrifices valuable early compounding years. Over time, you begin valuing stability more than visible consumption. You realize average financial outcomes stem from average structural decisions. You see that discipline creates asymmetrical long-term advantages. You understand that lifestyle restraint increases strategic freedom. Freedom grows when obligations remain deliberately limited. You recognize that income growth alone does not guarantee wealth. Wealth requires intentional surplus allocation into productive systems. You detach identity from visible status symbols gradually. You measure confidence through financial control rather than possessions. You build resilience before building luxury. Resilience provides peace that luxury cannot guarantee. You adopt a framework where upgrades follow asset growth automatically. Lifestyle inflation keeps you average because it absorbs your potential surplus. When surplus disappears, compounding loses its power. Without compounding, time cannot multiply your efforts meaningfully. You remain dependent on constant performance to sustain stability. When you control lifestyle inflation, surplus capital expands. Expanded surplus accelerates ownership and long-term leverage. Ownership creates options that income alone cannot provide. Understanding this shift transforms earning into lasting financial strength.
Thanks for learning money the smart and simple way.
Small steps today create big financial growth tomorrow. Subscribe and build your money skills step by step.
Keep learning, and I'll see you in the next video.